final presenter tonight is Danica Ye. She's an environmental studies major with a minor in business administration and climate change. She will be graduating June of 2023. Danica did such a great job working for her host organization, Cascadia Climate Group, that she was actually rehired by the organization and currently works there as a part-time project coordinator. So congratulations, Danica. The title of her presentation, The title of her presentation is Pitching the Switch to Reuse, How to Overcome the Barriers to Corporate Sustainability. The host organization she worked with was Cascadia Consulting Group. Her site supervisor there was Christy Chow. Her faculty advisor on campus was Lauren Brohan of the Burke Center for Entrepreneurship here at the University of Washington. Let's go ahead and give it up for Danica.
Good. Testing. Good. Maybe I should take these off so I can't see any of you. So I wanted to start this off by showing you all a reconfiguration of George Seurat's Sunday Afternoon. And while you may be familiar with the original painting, you might be a little less familiar with this adaptation by Chris Jordan. And when you look at this piece, I want you to think about what you see. Is it the trees, the animals, the people, maybe the lack of iPhones? Well, when you take a closer look, you'll see it depicts much more than that. 400,000 plastic bottle caps, that is, equal to the number of plastic bottles consumed in the US every minute. And this is one of many works by Chris Jordan that fall under what he calls an American self-portrait. Now, why am I showing you this? Because words often don't suffice in expressing the profuse amount of single-use waste in our country. It fills our land, pollutes our air, and destroys wildlife habitats. And the only true effective way to combat this problem is by stopping production at the source. So then what do we eat and drink out of? Reusables. This summer, I worked to help tackle this disaster of single-use waste with Cascadia Consulting Group under the Reuse Seattle partnership. This initiative works to help Seattle businesses switch from single-use food service packaging to reusables. However, there are many barriers that prevent businesses from adopting these systems. That's why my research focused on 1, how can consulting firms better market reusables to businesses? And 2, what are the environmental and economic metrics associated with reusables? To answer these questions, I interviewed professionals in the corporate sustainability field, including experts from entertainment venues, CEOs of service provider companies, and more. I also conducted data analysis to calculate savings with the help of library research. And during my interviews, I focused on 2 main points of discussion: barriers to reusables and marketing strategies. And after speaking to these professionals, it was no surprise that the perceived barriers to these systems all revolved around one central issue: cost. Businesses and their customers do not want to pay more for a reusable cup. So how do you convince a business to provide reusables to consumers? You present reusables as what they are: borrowed containers. According to the experts I interviewed, presenting reusables as having no upfront cost has shown to drastically increase business participation. Since the containers are meant to be returned, the only costs incurred to businesses are borrowing fees. So as soon as the container is returned, the cost is withdrawn. Another way to market reusables is with legitimization. One expert from the Woodland Park Zoo noted that emphasizing partnerships with renowned organizations and achieving endorsements from past clients are effective ways to legitimize these systems. And lastly, building consumer base by speaking to customers directly has shown to increase individual participation in reusable programs. And according to 2 company founders, this is because people want to know that their personal decisions have an impact on the world. So even if there are additional costs, informing consumers about the power of their decisions will increase the likelihood that they choose reusables. But how do we quantify these impacts? How do we show the general public the weight that their choices hold? Using scholarly articles, data analysis tools, and pricing estimates from reusable companies, I was able to calculate the environmental and economic metrics of a sports arena switching to reusables. I found that switching from compostable single-use cups to reusable plastic cups can save over 200,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide and over 32,000 tons of landfill. This, along with data showing over $1 million in savings, are crucial to showing businesses and consumers the value of eliminating single-use waste. And what's better than saving the planet while saving money too? It's no secret that the responsibility for environmental degradation lies heavily on the shoulders of large corporations. And with this, it often feels like our individual choices are not enough to make a difference. But while it may start with small businesses and local cafes, creating a network of reusable packaging systems is the key to beating single-use waste. It must be stopped at the source. With the use of these marketing strategies and data, more companies will make the switch to reusable packaging systems. More consumers will participate in the use of reusables, and more power will be held in your hands to create positive change. And with this change, we can help shift the American self-portrait from a sea of plastic bottle caps back into the trees, the animals, and the people that make our planet what we call home. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to my site supervisor, Christy Chow, for her spectacular guidance and support, as well as the entire Reuse Seattle team. I'd also like to thank my faculty advisor, Lauren Brohan, and lastly, all my friends, family, and classmates that have helped me along the way, and also just congrats to all the 492 students.
Okay, questions for Danica? Oh, we got a bunch of hands.
Can you describe what a reusable packaging system would look like in Seattle?
Yeah, so she was asking what a reusable packaging system might look like in Seattle. There is actually, for example, the Woodland Park Zoo was actually a summer launch for Reuse Seattle. And so the way that worked, it was part of their Zoo Tunes concerts, if any of you went to those. So they had a service provider called R Cup that provided the reusable cups, and then they sold various beverages in those cups. Customers drank them, and then there were little drop-off bins where you would drop off the reusable cup to be washed and reused by the Woodland Park Zoo. But that's just one of many different kinds of reusable packaging systems. So there's ones, for example, like a cafe, if you went to a coffee shop and got a reusable cup from them and then returned it at a different location and dropped it off on a bin somewhere else.
See, I thought I saw some other hands. There's one. Oh, go ahead.
Sure.
Sorry. I was wondering how you ensure that consumers will return the reusable packaging.
That can definitely. Oh, sorry. She was asking, how can you ensure that customers return the reusable packaging? And that can definitely be a problem. One really good method is on the reusable cups, if you can, designing things that say return to this bin, or even just making, I think at the Woodland Park Zoo, they made announcements saying, remember to return your reusable cup, and stuff like that. But it's definitely a work in progress for a lot of reusable packaging systems.
Great, maybe one more question.
What other factors went into calculating the economic and environmental impact of the goals?
So she asked what other factors went into calculating the economic and environmental metrics. So those mainly came from a life cycle analysis report by a company called Upstream. And it was all based on a sports arena sized venue. So it was an 18,000 person venue with 300 sold out events. And so in addition to the landfill use and carbon dioxide, it also considered energy usage, air acidification, and water eutrophication. And then for the economics, it just looked at the different numbers of cups you would need. So with reusables, you need a lot less than if you have single use. And so pricing estimates that I got from interviewing service providers gave me pricing estimates, and then library research as well went into that for the economic savings.
Great. Thank you so much.